answer his question.
Well, it answered a lot of my questions.
It may have, but maybe not the one he was asking.
So, yeah, I mean, yes, it answered. So excellent, Vinayak Prabhu. So now we're live on Facebook and YouTube, just FYI. So some of the recordings will be posted later, but now we're live. So I'll start my uh, what I want to say. So you're basically saying that the unelected GBC since 1970 all the way to 2022 have been cheating and criminals. So basically, they're criminals because they have disobeyed Srila Prabhupada's instructions. They are appointing gurus, which is never something that never was approved by Srila Prabhupada, and the disciples of the appointed gurus are being cheated on every step. And this is why there was a whole bunch of frenzy going on in the 1980s because of these things. GBC not being elected, temple presidents being kicked out.
We can say GBC elected, temple presidents kicked out, but the actual fact is they didn't simply rely on Prabhupada's books and observance of them. If you read Prabhupada's books, the Krishna conscious movement will go on like crazy.
Yeah.
If you start getting caught up in esotericism from Vrindavan, you may fancy yourself a big scholar, but it will not do the world any good whatsoever.
Right. Yes.
And you may think, well, who cares about the world? I just want salvation for myself. Okay, it won't do much good to get you salvation because you can only get salvation by spreading the holy name, not by becoming a scholar of esoteric Brajvasi Brahmins.
Yeah, also my personal understanding or my personal realization experience here locally was that, the way everything was going on, it was so in a relativistic way that, I'm coming from, whatever my situation was in my previous birth, I never clicked into their, cult. I was like, I was always hearing Prabhupada, I was listening to his lectures, reading that letter by Karandar, Srila Prabhupada's letter to Karandar. I even presented it to Vaisheshika. I was like, there's an Iskcon temple, local Iskcon center. Why cannot we also be Iskcon? We're following all the principles. We're distributing the most amount of books, and it's just 4 of us here. 4 or 5 people. So I was really disturbed by what was going on. So and this way I was totally bamboozled by the unelected GBC, the appointed gurus. They made the whole thing a mess.
So if Vaisheshika said, well, the GBC won't authorize it, I said, okay, what's it, 3 more years, we'll have an election and then we can have new GBC.
Yeah. So in this way, I was really adamant that, we must always remain independent of any organization, even though we're not Iskcon. Well, this is what Prabhupada wanted, and while the other people, they joined the local Iskcon, cult, the group, and how things went once they joined.
Well, yeah, in simple terms, because it's also human nature, it went from a spiritual presentation by Prabhupada to a sociological reception by the devotees.
Yeah.
And it went from a spiritual, transcendental presence of Krishna's holy name, uplifting the population, to a religion where you have to follow all the rules and the higher authority and what's it called, the ecclesiastical, the ultimate ecclesiastical authority. Well, if they want to be ecclesiastical authority, why didn't they accept Prabhupada as an ecclesiastical authority?
Yeah, that's what I was hammering on. I was always like, look what Prabhupada is saying here. We must always keep our independence and follow Prabhupada as he wanted. So in this way, that did not jive with their understanding. So because they were all initiated by the, appointed gurus, so-called gurus. So
well, that's the thing. But that came about because the GBC are just using the gurus to distract people from Prabhupada.
Yes.
Yes. What is the guru? Oh, he's my spiritual authority. Well, what is Prabhupada? Prabhupada, he wrote the books. So no, if that guru is your spiritual authority, who gave him the authority to be your spiritual authority?
Yeah.
Oh, the GBC. Who gave them the authority to provide a spiritual authority? Are they spiritual authorities that can provide more spiritual authorities? You know, I mean, where did they get the authorization? So, well, it goes back to Prabhupada created the GBC. Yeah, he created them to be political men for 3-year terms or renewable 3-year terms as temple presidents who never give up being a temple president. They remain temple president, and then after their 3 or 6 or 9-year term, they go back, they stay in the temple. They would have been in the temple most of the time anyhow, except for GBC activity.
It's a great crime, you know. I'm looking at it now from this perspective that we have I'm gonna use the Sacramento example. We have all this devotees here in Sacramento of the different groups: Radhanath, Jayapataka, Biru Krishna, Tamal Krishna. They're great people. They're chanting Hare Krishna, but because they want to belong to a sectarian religion, cult, which is not what Prabhupada wanted, which is not Iskcon actually. They have shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Instead of making Krishna consciousness available, they have made a cult around it. Okay, you must be one of us.
Yeah, so that's what happens. Thakur Bhaktivinoda's made it quite clear. Sectarianism. Prabhupada's the pure devotee, he spoke. These people listened. Then they turned it into something that they wanted it to be, rather than simply letting Prabhupada's will become manifest throughout the entire movement.
Yeah. They
didn't want a spiritual movement. They wanted a religion that they could control.
Yeah.
So and that's what they did. Where the confusion comes in for people is that, well, Prabhupada was there. Why didn't he do anything about it? And the answer would be, what exactly do you think he would have done about it? Prabhupada was there. Why did he take the arsenic poisoning that was given to him? I mean, just because he wanted to be another Jesus being marked, crucified? Why did he do that?
Yeah, I mean, that can be, imposed on Prahlad Maharaj, him being a pure devotee. Why was he allowing all these things to happen to him? Right?
Yeah, like being tortured by his father?
Yeah, being tortured by his father, throwing in a pit of lions, snakes, elephants off a cliff. Why did he, if he's a pure devotee, why didn't he just kill him? Or curse him?
Exactly.
Curse his father. Or curse his disciples. I mean, look what Prabhupada did.
Because the pure devotee is in the midst of non-devotees.
Yeah, and then what he asked, Lord Nishingadev asked, Prahlad Maharaj about his father. He said, he actually, prayed for his father that, okay, my father is a great demon, but, let him be, excused.
Can you forgive him?
Yeah. So people don't realize these things. How merciful Prabhupada, extremely merciful he was. So it's unimaginable. Chai.
Yeah, so we have to understand that. But here we are many years later.
Yeah.
Was it
52 years since 1970?
How many?
52 years since 1970, yeah.
And in that 52 years is really a tiny fragment of time.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, it's way more than half my existence in this lifetime.
Yes.
But we're not measuring the universe by my lifespan.
Jai.
We measure the universe has its own way of measuring itself.
Yeah.
Even like Brahma, if you go to Brahmaloka for 10 minutes, you come back to Earth, it's millions of years later.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we have to stop trying to measure everything by our own lifespan. Particularly the older we get, the less reasonable it is. So nobody should think of less than 200 years.
Chai. Minimum 200 years.
Well, that's minimum. Yeah, 500 years, but I think that goes beyond most people's comprehension of the possibility of time. We're 500 years from Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah.
So
Five.
when
I
we say
mean,
500 years
do
from
it.
now, how will Iskcon be? Do you really want the descendant of 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 a Kunasarikari Iskcon guru being in charge of Iskcon?
No way. No,
Well, but
absolutely
people
not.
don't know. They don't say. I ask them that, and they just draw a blank. They can't see beyond their own eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, pus, blood, stool, and urine. As far as they're concerned, if it doesn't involve my eating and sleeping and mating and defending, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, I've not heard the ISKCON appointed people who are acting as managers talk into the future. They're talking about the present, and we have talked to that guy in India. I don't want to mention his name. Starts with a B and ends with a Ghosh. They can think beyond
He's
their
ghostly
relative
haunted.
existence.
He's
So
ghostly haunted.
ghostly hunted. Yeah. Ghostly hunted. So that's a new one. Ghostly hunted. Yeah, so this Zoom meeting is, we're talking into the future, and hopefully these videos are still available on YouTube in 200 years.
Yeah, well, ideally, we were told by the guy in India, who we respect his desire for anonymity and privacy. He said that he didn't think the GBC is going to be able to continue more than maybe 3 more years because they've reached a dead end.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, now's the time to say, good, let's drop the GBC, not have to wait 3 years, hopefully, but let's drop it now, or close to now as possible, and it's reestablish the elected GBCs for each temple president can elect GBCs for 3-year terms.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's way outside of the realm of possibility. And in fact, it would be easier.
Try.
If you have like clumps of 20, 30 temples, it's easier for the GBC to be elected from temple presidents than it is to maintain this huge tumor in the athletic body of Iskcon, swelling out like a gigantic, obese, bloated belly sticking out of Iskcon. And what is it doing? It is simply a tumor. It's a cancerous growth. It uses all the nutrients, but it doesn't produce any value.
Try.
So better to say, let's go back to the original platform. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. No taxes involved. And the original temples, everybody keep their money in their own temple. If we want to do something together, we can get the GBC to talk to a dozen temples and say we need $100,000. Can each of you put up 10,000? And if they can or want to, they can. But they can't be forced.
Yeah, that's the thing. These people here locally tried to open temple. I'm like, let's get our money that we are having in our bank for ourselves, and let's make something for Srila Prabhupada. But that did not jive with them so well. They wanted to collect from the outside people, by selling them tickets and raffles and King's jerseys and stuff like that. So, I mean,
well, that's the problem, and we're trying to deal with the solution.
Yeah.
So does Vinayak have any more questions up on the board?
Vinayak Prabhu doesn't. He said, yes, it answered generally the tendency of the GBC to jump onto esoteric topics. Well, they're not doing that so much anymore. That's already going on.
They're not doing what anymore?
I'm saying Vinayak Prabhu wrote, generally the tendency of the GBC to jump on esoteric topics. Well, they're not doing that anymore. They're just trying to save the movement and themselves.
The only reason they're jumping on esoteric topics is to try to establish themselves as authorities.
Yeah, they're not doing that.
No practical application. You don't need any esoteric topics to be a GBC. All you need to do is to know how to provide the benefit, like a senator doesn't have to be a scholar. He doesn't have to be a biblical scholar to be senator of the United States. He just has to know what his state needs and how the other states needs, and to make an agreement so they can get everybody working together.
Jai.
That's all they're for. Nothing esoteric.
So we invite all the members of Prabhupada's movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to come on this Ishtagoshti platform and ask questions, raise your doubts, challenge our philosophical understanding, refine, help us in any way possible, right? It's an open invitation to everyone and anyone to participate. So let's see here. I wanted to read something. 1 second. If anyone has any more questions here, Vinayak, Mahaprabhu, and anyone watching online on Facebook, YouTube, this will be archived and recorded. Our
How
group
about
link.
Mohit?
Mohit is not
still
here.
with us?
Mohit is not
He
here.
left?
Yeah,
What happened?
I don't know. So this is recorded and archived. If you want to join our group, personally connect with us, please join the WhatsApp group. It's there for your benefit and for our benefit, that you can contact Narayan Prabhu, me, if you have any questions, comments, agreements, disagreements, philosophical discrepancies which we may have. You can point it out to us. All right, let's see here.
Hey, by the way, Harinam Das wants to possibly join our conversation,
Excellent.
but he needs to. I think you said you have his email. Maybe you can tell him how to get involved.
I don't know. We've been doing it for close to 2 years. I mean, we advertise how they
No,
can.
but he wants to be invited.
He wants to be invited.
He
Okay,
wants to-
personally
he wants
invited.
to-
Sure. If you want to
he
be
wants
personally
the-
invited,
He wants the link to click on.
okay. Yeah. For
He's
people
in
to,
Hawaii, so he's better off than we are.
yeah.
For him, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to join, just click in the WhatsApp group, have WhatsApp installed on your computer, on your iPhone, on your Android, and then just click the link, and then you'll be in the group. You'll automatically be joined, and whenever we go live, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, you get the link. And then you also have our contact information in the group, and then you can contact us with any questions. So this is how several devotees have come who participate on the meetings. Okay. So you heard that recording stopped?